Happy Father's Day to all the dads, and welcome to QVC2 and an hour of LG. I'm Brett Hamilton, and you're wondering where's the host? They're all at Rick's house. He's having some sort of like all-day mandatory Father's Day cookout. They're all there, so you're stuck with me for an entire hour. Is that a good thing? A bad thing? I guess we're going to find out over the next hour. I can tell you what is good. This piece right back here. What an incredible television, right? I don't need to describe any tech. I don't need to give you any specs. You take a look at that right now, even on the television that you currently own, which is certainly not doing this LG justice. But you're looking at a 65-inch Class C3 series OLED. I'll explain what that means in a second. Evo 4K UHD smart TV with Dolby Vision. That's a lot of tech. What it translates to is really just an incredible experience. And normally the QVC price of almost $2,500 translates to a much better price right now for the big deal, $1,549. There's 5 easy pays available. There's free shipping. We will bring it right up to the threshold of your door. All you have to do is plug it in and decide where it's going to go in your home. And I share a quick little story with you. I've been at QVC for 16 years, and I've had a chance to demonstrate a lot of televisions from a handful of brands. And when I started, we still had the big projection TVs, those monsters that were as big as a car without an exaggeration. And from there to where we are now, flat screens and everything in between, LG has not only been my favorite, but I have every single TV in my home, except for one, a small TV, is an LG TV. And the last time I had a chance to demonstrate or present an LG was right before I moved into my new house 5 years ago. It had OLED technology in it. And when I bought those TVs for my house, for the TSV, I said to myself, it's never going to get any better than this. It's impossible for LG or anybody else to create a better image, to create a better experience, and I was wrong. And I say that hand on the Bible in front of the judge, whatever you need, because when you look at the picture quality on this TV, and again, you are at home at a little bit of a disadvantage because you're watching through, I wouldn't say an inferior TV, but unless you're watching on this exact television, you don't have the luxury of really seeing what I'm seeing. And we've been showing you this really cool built-in piece. It's called, from the art gallery. It's a rainy day, and I know, again, you're kind of at the mercy of what you're watching on, but we're looking through a window. There's the Washington Monument, there are the cherry blossoms. If you didn't know better, you would think you were looking through a window and not at a television. And when we look at this technology, you go, well, how is all this happening? Well, all this is happening because of something called an Alpha 9 Gen 6 AI processor. Whew. That's a lot. That's heavy. What does it mean? Well, it means a lot of pixels. The more pixels, the better the image. But it's not just about the pictures. It's about something called OLED, which I will get to in a second, which translates to these rich, vibrant colors and this Dolby Vision IQ, which is essentially optimizing your picture scene by scene based on your settings. It automatically adjusts to what you're watching. So if you've got 2 characters and it's a tight shot of their faces, they make the faces look even better than they already do in high def and 4K and all that stuff. It'll adjust automatically to the ambient light in the room, dark, light. The old days of pulling out the old remote and going, I'm gonna hit the brightness, now I'm gonna hit the contrast, I don't know what I'm doing. Those days are over, because this TV is so smart, it will do it for you. And because it has what's called AI technology inside, it learns and it gets better as time goes on. And I can tell you this is the first time I have ever experienced that kind of technology. So what does that mean? That means you're buying essentially a future-proof television. And listen, there's nothing in the electronics world that's going to last forever. But when you look at the screen right there, and you also see that this is the #1 selling television based on dollar sales. And that's a big deal, because there are some heavy hitters out there that are competing with LG. You go, wow, that's pretty heavy. And it's also customer top rated. And also keep in mind, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, this is available on 18-month financing, which comes out to about $86 a month if you have a Q card. So make sure you talk to your operator about that. The best way to order is by calling 800-500-7590. So let's dive inside here and take a look at this magic television. It really is. It's not the days of just turning on the TV with cable and hoping you find something that you want are over. Because now, not only is this going to be able to give you anything that you're pulling from cable, not only can you get all of your favorite streaming services, as you look down here, not just the ones that are built in, but you have the ability to go inside the App Store like I did and grab whatever you want. And in this case, I went and I put the QVC app on here, which means I can watch QVC even if I don't have cable. It's as simple as that. And do you see how fast this device reacts? You know, if you got your, they call it the magic remote, you hit the remote, you find what you want, you hit play or open or whatever it might be, and it's off to the races. But it gets even better. There are built-in television, I call them television, there's built-in channels through the internet that translate to 300 plus free TV stations. 300 channels that you don't need cable for, 300 channels that you don't have to pay for, 300 channels, and you know what? They keep expanding this guide, and if you're looking at this going, that looks like cable. Well, it's not cable, but you recognize a lot of those channels, and you recognize a lot of those logos, and you go, hang on here, how am I getting these? You're getting these channels for free because when you set your television up, one of the very first things it's going to do is connect you to the internet. And once you connect to the internet, not only do you get access to this, but you get access to all these different downloads and all these different streaming services. Now, clearly, if you want Netflix or you want Disney Plus or you want Hulu, there are fees that go along with those. But you don't have to spend any money monthly to use your brand new LG TV. Again, it's a 65-inch TV, and for those of you wondering, what does that translate to? If I'm thinking about picking this up and I know how big my room is it 65 inches this way, this way? It's 65 inches diagonally and about 57 inches side to side. So when you think about it, it really is that sweet spot when it comes to a size for a TV. This can go in a bedroom. Clearly, it can go in a great room, a family room. It'd be a killer one for a man cave, whatever it might be. But once you get access to this and you get inside, I giggle because I'm just astounded with the quality, but also the ease of use. And I know a lot of you go, you guys make it look so easy on TV. What's it going to be like for me? What's the experience going to be like when I get this home? And is it going to be that easy? It is. And it's really as simple as plugging it into the wall and following the on-screen prompts, which will open up access to everything that I've shown you so far. And even though we have an hour together, a lot that we won't have time to get to. But I think in the end, what we all want is a good picture. We want a picture that looks like you're looking at the real thing. You want to look at the dining room table. You want to think that that fruit and those flowers are real. I mean, these colors are here and they look this good for a reason. So let's get to what OLED, because I kind of teased this at the top, what OLED technology is. I don't want to bore you with tech, but I think you're going to find this pretty interesting. When LCD TVs came out, they had pixels in the front and they had a big light panel in the back. And the light panel would shine through and it would do its best to recreate the colors that you look for. But it wasn't a perfect science, right? So what happened was LG and the scientists and the engineers and the guys way smarter than me came up with this technology where the 8+ million pixels, the little dots that make up that screen, all have their own individual light source. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's no way to replicate the color black on TV. If you try to create black, it looks gray. It's got a haze to it. It looks kind of black, but it's not black. Well, each one of those 8 million pixels has its own power source. So when they want a color, they fire up those pixels. But when they want black, it just turns the pixels off and it gives you actual black because there's no picture on the screen. And I'm not talking about the entire screen. I'm talking about where they need black, where they need this red. I believe there are over 1 billion color variations available. So we're talking about 8 million dots to make up the screen. And then within those 8 million dots, and that's why I'm showing you these colors, look at all the variations of the blues, of the greens, of the yellows. You know, we used to watch TV when it was standard definition. You were like, that's yellow. There was one shade of yellow. There was one green. There was one red. And black didn't look like black. Black looked gray. Well, those days are over. And you don't have to know or remember anything that I'm telling you right now other than I promise you, this viewing experience is going to be like something you have never seen in your life. Never. In fact, I was lucky enough to have lunch with my dad today. Meg's away. So it's just my dad and I for Father's Day. It was really cool, and they're moving. My dad and stepmother are moving to a smaller place. And he wants to drag this 15-year-old TV from the other house. He's like, I don't know. I mean, I just think that it's got a better viewing angle and a better picture. And I was like, Dad, TV's 15 years old, right? You don't even keep a car that long, you know? So I said, what you're looking at compared to what's out there now is night and day, without exaggeration. And in fact, I think he's watching tonight, so hopefully he sees what we're talking about here. But we have come so far in the last few years, let alone the last decade or so. And when you think about what you're watching on right now, if your TV is more than 5, 6 years old, it's not even in this world. You couldn't hold a candle to it. You know, like when you go to the big box stores and they have those walls of TVs and you look and you just stand there, you're like, But usually you can tell the good ones from the really, really good ones. You know, like if you just see one of them, you go, that's a good picture. And then you see the better version, whether it's the same brand or a different brand or spending more money, and you go, why did I come in here? Because I only wanted to spend X, now I got that. The fact that this normally is $2,500, and today you're spending what? It's $1,549. So it's $950 less than you would spend after this big deal price goes away. There's the black I'm talking about. That's black, right? That's not gray. It's not a hazy gray, that's an inky black, and that's what the OLED technology and also what they call this Evo technology, it automatically adjusts the brightness for not only the colors, but the light in the room. How many of you have a TV that when it's really bright during the day, you can't see anything? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna get the remote out and then I'm gonna go to the settings, and you just start messing with stuff. You're like, nah, the contrast, I'll turn that up. That didn't do anything. And I'll turn the brightness up. Now it's too bright or it's too washed out. And before you know it, the picture actually looks worse than if you had just left it alone. This TV is smart enough to analyze the room and analyze what it is that you're watching. So if you, again, as I mentioned at the top, if it's skin tones and the actors are in the forefront, it will concentrate on making those skin tones look as realistic as possible, and also making the action and the colors as realistic as possible. Because isn't that what we want after all? When it comes down to watching TV, we don't want to feel like we're watching a movie. We certainly don't want to feel like we're watching a baseball game on TV. We want to feel like we're there, right? I wish I was allowed to show you an MLB game, like the Yankees are playing the Red Sox tonight. Pull that up on something like this. And if you've never seen, by the way, if you have never seen a broadcast in 4K, not 1080p, 4K is the, the next version of the highest of high definition. You're gonna be like, I don't know why I waited this long. Not everything on cable is in 4K, but like the Amazon Prime channel or Plus channel or whatever it's called, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, all of them broadcasting in 4K now. And there's just as much content on there as there is on any of the networks. All right, let's go back into the menu for a second, because I've been gushing about the picture, but I want you to see all the other cool stuff that this thing is capable of doing. One of those things is our friend Alexa. This television is able to connect to either Alexa if you have an Amazon account, or if you have a Google account, you can use the Google Assistant. But what's cool about this is that you can either ask for her name, which I haven't done, I disabled that, but there is a little Alexa button on the remote itself. So if I hold this down, I can say, will it rain today?
No rain is expected tonight. Also, there's an excessive...
How about that? Guess what? Now you have an Amazon Echo built into your TV. And I know you can't hear it because I have it turned down. So you have an Amazon Echo, you have Alexa built in, and then you can start doing other cool things that really have less to do with the TV and more to do with your home. And what do I mean by that? You've heard about a smart home, right? You've heard about smart hubs and smart plugs and all that cool stuff. There's a lamp over here that has a smart plug connected to it, and I can use my voice to say, Alexa, turn on desk lamp.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Your TV will now turn on the appliances, the lights. Think about holiday time. Your days of climbing under the Christmas tree are over. And when you go to bed at night and you're climbing up the steps and you forgot to turn off the tree, or you've got your remote upstairs, you can just say, turn off the desk lamp. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that's blown away with the fact that my TV can turn my lights on and off. So let me show you some cool stuff that this thing can do. Take a peek at this video here, because I can gush about it and talk about it all night long, but this does it justice. Over 8 million self-lit pixels, each one with their own power source, which translates to perfect black. The contrast, the brightness, the colors all look way more or way better than anything you have ever seen before. And I can say that for the next,